Hey there and welcome. We are back. It is 2022 and it's exciting. It's exciting already. There's so much to talk about when it comes to what's going on in real estate, and I can't remember the last time that this was the case. And we're going to break it all down for you right here, right now. We've got the HACK&CO teammates with us, and this is where we turn stats into stories. Our December real estate market update, and this is brought to you by Gravidia. Gravidia is helping companies get their message out, helping them attract their next client instead of chasing them. We understand what those family-run businesses need, and they need visibility. So if you're interested in this or know somebody who is, go over to gravidia.com and let's bring in our HACK&CO teammates. I want to introduce some people that have been just doing fantastic things. We have Kim Christensen with us. How you doing today, Kim?
I'm doing good.
Kim, man, I have to say that like you're starting your year just hot out of the blocks, right? This has got to be the best beginning to a year, and we're like in week 3 right now, right?
Yeah, super exciting. The market's super exciting. Yeah, I haven't seen this in a long time. Kicking off the year really strong.
Wow, you were telling me that you've been out with buyers this week. What's it like, buyers right now? Like, obviously it's cold, but that's changing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's good. This week is a little more comfortable going out with the buyers. Yeah, it's crazy. I've been out with buyers over the Christmas holidays, and booking those showings is getting a little bit challenging. I'm finding that like more than half of them are pending. So yeah, it's a little bit more difficult for those buyers to, get into those homes fast.
Yeah, I totally understand that. It's a little bit frustrating, but also it's good to know that this is the case, because the way that inventory almost gets called to the market is by buyer activity. So the more that we hear things like that, the more people are going to be inspired to list. And that actually kind of takes me over to Amy. Now, Amy, you're joining us for the first time here for our monthly market insight. And you've already just kind of hot out of the gate. What I mean by that is I think you had your real estate license for 4 minutes when you had your first listing. And didn't you take, like, you had a backup offer on that one?
Yes, I did.
Wow, that's amazing. And this was a house that you were involved with in the build process, and now that you got to resell it, and that was your very first experience in real estate.
Yeah, that's right. And it was a great one.
Okay, well, more people should know that you're bringing your build expertise into real estate, that you have a real estate license now, especially if they're taking a look at product like that. Like, you live over there in Keswick, and I think that you've been in 50% of the houses because you sold them.
That's correct.
So this is exciting, and we're excited to hear a little bit more about what you see in real estate with your kind of new vision and new approach here as we go forward. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
And we have last year's top teammate of the year, HACK&CO, newly minted top teammate, Anthony D'Souza. Anthony, you sold like almost 10 times the amount of real estate as the average real estate agent in the Edmonton board last year. Well done.
Yep. Still standing.
Be, really proud of how many people that you helped.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for taking care of so many of our clients that resulted in amazing 5-star experiences. And thanks for your insight. What are you seeing right now? So out in the marketplace right now, are like from a seller perspective, what do you see?
From a seller perspective, it's really good to have a plan in place. So if you know kind of where you're going and you're ready to list, now's the perfect time, because there is still a ton of attention. There's still quite a few buyers out there, but there's way less competition than there would be if you waited till the spring. And we're seeing acreages still super hot right now. Even checking in on some, like Kim was talking about, where just hit the market and there's already a couple of offers. So that trend of chasing lower density and moving into those bedroom communities and so on. But you said something to me interesting earlier this year. You were saying that one of the most common property types, you can't find them.
What do you have buyers looking for right now like that?
Front attached garage duplexes. Those are significantly harder and harder to find. If you see one, it's already likely got lots of interest. And so if you bought a duplex in the last couple of years and you're thinking about upgrading because you've run out of some space, there's definitely never been a better time to list a duplex than right now.
Man, that was like the dark horse of the pandemic, right? Like when we went in, we started to see everybody trending towards low density. That doesn't make you think of duplexes unless you live in an apartment style condo. Then a duplex is lower density. And all of a sudden, what we saw like late last year is that those properties were selling like 11 out of 10 of them. Can you believe that? Right. 11 out of 10 of them is amazing. In fact, that's a little bit about what I want to shed light on first, which is what we call sale to new listing ratio. So I want you guys all to know that we ended up reading the market stats so you didn't have to. We go through this information so that we can just provide you insight. And what you need to know when it comes to how many properties are coming to the market is how many of those sell. Because typically when we wind time back in Edmonton, there were times that there was only one buyer in the market for every 2 sellers in general. There were times in condos where it was 1 for 3, and actually last year in some places it was 1 for 6. And that means that sellers have to compete for the available buyers. Now, this is new information. When you take a look at all the properties being listed right now, 9 out of 10 of them are selling as of December. 9 out of 10 of those listings are selling. Now, I want you to consider that only 6 out of 10 condos are selling. And that means that those houses that Tony just described, they're selling 11 out of 10 of them. 11 out of 10 of them in the duplexes that we said were the surprising result as we kind of move through this pandemic. 10 out of 10 of them are selling. When we take a look at the 3-month trend, what we're seeing is that it's really just strengthening. More demand is the tune of the market right now. And when we take a look year over year, single family detached is doing better than it was last year as far as buyer demand. There is more buyer demand in new listings. Duplexes were actually hotter this time of year last year. How do you get hotter than 100%? These are statistics that we don't normally see in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And the total residential, like honestly, if you were thinking about listing your property, like people wait for spring. They wait until it's warm outside. I think that people should kind of reconsider. What are your thoughts on this? What do you guys see in relation to what I'm noting here? Like Kim, when you're booking showings right now for buyers, what's that like?
Oh, it's tougher than than I remember in a long time. So every time, like I'm trying to book 10, at least half of them are pending. So it's a little bit challenging. More than I can remember. It's busy. It's the inventory is low. So
that's interesting. And you were taking a focus on days on market.
Mm-hmm.
What's it looking like? Like when we talk about days on market, we're talking about what's the measurement?
The measurement is for days on markets, starting on day 0 and then all the way until the property is no longer available on the market, so sold.
So we call that from the moment it enters MLS.
Yeah.
So it goes on the multiple listing system or service. And that's day 0. And more people should be talking about that because most people can't even see it, right? Most people don't know about properties until days later. And then when you're saying that it measures out until it's sold, that's like when the sold sticker goes up on the sign because all conditions have been removed.
Yes.
And so what do you see that as being like normally, and what is it now?
Well, depending what you're getting yourself into, single family detached homes and like duplexes, as we were talking about, are doing very, very well right now. We're almost single family detached homes are at 46 days on market compared to last year at 53. So we're almost, lower 10%. And then duplexes are 47 days on market compared to last year at 57 days. Condos are, that trend still in the opposite direction. But we've been kind of seeing that over time. And then overall, all residential is down 52 days on market, whereas last year was 58 days.
Wow. So it's pretty much a week faster than it was this time last year.
Yes.
And a week faster in a time that's not notable for action. And the only thing that's bucking the trend of everything heating up and actually making it look not as hot as it was is the condo market. I wonder what that's going to, I wonder how far the other things are going to be able to stretch until we start to see that bend. Meaning, like, how expensive do these duplexes and row houses that people are talking about right now have to be before a percentage of the people that would have bought them are like, you know what, I'll take a loft. Right? You know what, I'll if it's got good amenities, I'll do that. I think that we're going to start to see that change in Edmonton this year. Now, when we say that the days on market is really starting to lower for these single family detached and the duplexes, what is your advice when it comes to people that are thinking about buying?
Just get in touch with your professional agent there. You don't want to miss, like you said, days on zero. If you're not working with the Pro Tools, you'll be missing those days on zero. And delayed on the realtor.ca there. So you don't want to miss out, because a lot of these properties are going on day zero opening weekend. So you want to just be prepared and get yourself on those professional tools so you don't miss out.
Absolutely. So Amy, in your last listing, if we didn't find that listing until Monday.
It was pending by Monday.
Okay, so then I'm going to want to write like a backup offer then, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what happened. And it didn't end up going to the backup, but if anything hadn't worked out, it really would have.
So even if you got into that second position, that house still wasn't going to be yours. So people literally had hours from the time that this is launched. And a lot of people don't know this on the outside, but we put a lot of thought into how properties are launched. We have tracked trends. We look at when people look, when the most showing frequency happens, when the best opportunity for us to hit the button is. And it's a pretty interesting result. It was not what anybody would expect. Who else launches listings at night? But this is the thing that the science leads us to. So that's something that is really key there is that if somebody was not using the Pro Tools, they'd be out there hanging out on places like realtor.ca. That is based on, like, they have to like constantly wear out their thumb searching. And then they're still not going to see this stuff at a fast enough refresh rate in order to be in the game. Like if Tony was bringing the buyer to Amy's listing, he would have already had it before anybody else even knew it. Yeah, very, very different experience there. So what about sellers? Any thoughts on that, Kim? Sellers that are seeing these lower days on market, what do you think they should consider?
A lot of people think like, oh, I'm going to wait until, it gets closer to spring. But honestly, if you're thinking about selling, now is a very good time to sell. Like we said, there's low inventory. So a lot of buyers out there looking for your home. So get your home, get it ready. And if you're thinking about it, do it sooner than later.
Wait a second. So we're talking about when spring is like it's movable. Hey, Tony, when's the official start to spring?
March 20th or 22nd.
Yeah, like right on the button there. But Kim, you're saying spring starts now. Amy, when does spring actually start? Can you settle this argument?
I would say that in real estate, the spring market starts when the demand comes. And so that's now.
That's why people wait, right? They want to list their house when it has the most eyeballs and footfalls, which is how things that sell work. And you're saying that we're already seeing this now right in our statistics. Now, you were taking a look at months of inventory.
Yeah.
And can you describe what that is?
Yeah, months of inventory is a measurement of how supply is related to demand in real estate. So essentially, how fast could we burn through the inventory that's already there if another house didn't come on the market?
Wow. And so what, like, I'm going to be honest, the algorithm sounds boring. What does that actually mean? Like, what's news right now?
Okay, so just to understand it a little bit better, a balanced market would be about 3.5 months worth of inventory, and anything under that would be considered a seller's market, and over that would be considered a buyer's market. What we've been seeing over the last 3 months is that it is crazy hot right now. It is not normal for November, December, and January to see a balanced market like we've been seeing. And it's even tipping into a seller's market, which I was not expecting at all. If we take a look at how that compares with last year was typical. It was a buyer's market in January, and this year it's turned on its head.
That's a very good descriptor. And I definitely think that you encompass like what's going on now with your next buyer. What should they know?
Advice that I would give buyers is for sure to interview multiple agents. You're going to want to work with somebody who's working with the most current information and somebody who has strategy. It has to be completely different than it was there for last year. Definitely, like Kim said, work with the pro tools. You're going to want to be first in line. We know that prices are moving up. We know that interest rates are moving up, and you're going to want to work with the right agent. Otherwise, I'm worried that you could pay too much or miss the one.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of buyers worried about that too. And I want the buyers out there to know that we do feel for them, but we don't care that much. And what I mean for that is that the reason that we care less about the fact that the market's moving in another direction is this is good for what they're about to buy. They want to buy into a market that is on its way up, right? So we do understand your pain, and we're going to help you navigate this. Missing the one is for real. But that's because a lot of the people don't train like Hack and Company teammates here. In fact, we often train harder than other people play. We just brought in another business coach. And these are the things that lead us to great outcomes. And when it comes to beating other buyers to the listings available, we've developed strategy from places like Toronto where they're getting 37 offers on opening weekend. We learned how to win there and have brought that back to Edmonton. So this is something that I think that is key, is because for all the people that own real estate, you want a seller's market. That means it's going to feel like somebody in your household just got a job, the way that equity will be building. This was the history of real estate. This is what they promised you when you bought it. And we're starting to see that it's heading in that direction in 2022 here. So now when we take a look on it from the seller side, any thoughts there, Amy?
Yeah, like I was saying before, the spring market in real estate is just really when demand exists. So I would say to sellers, bring the supply because we have the demand.
I think that that's good advice. And, honestly, it's going to call more supply to the market. And these signals that are going out right now are going to bring in your great purchase. So if you're the one who is first in bringing your property to the market, you're going to notice that this demand is already present. That's what we're telling you. However, then there's going to be more listings. And this has been the secret sauce to those families moving up for a few years, is get to the market with your listing before other people get there. And then you're going to be selling among less competition. But don't worry about it. Because you have a better market position, you can demand things like a longer possession date and leave yourself available to shop the best of what's coming to the spring market. We've been doing this for a fair amount of time, and one of our biggest commitments is to save others from a 3-star experience in real estate, and it starts with strategy like this. And if you have a playbook from 2021, I would like you to sit on the bench because it's not going to work on 2022. That's what we're looking at with these stats right now. How is this affecting price, Tony?
Oh man, price has definitely been something we've been keeping an eye on because it is definitely on the rise. It's been on the rise for most of 2021, and we continue to see it go up. And so what we're seeing is that for total residential overall, it's up about 20 to 25,000 since this time last year. But where we're seeing the most significant growth is we're seeing single family homes, up about 30,000 from this time last year, and same for duplexes and townhouses, about the same amount, 30,000 higher. And we're seeing this steady rise month over month. So single family went up by 6,000 from last month. And duplexes have gone up almost $18,000 just from this time last month. And so we're seeing significant growth here. And when we talk about average price, we're just really basically talking about what the market's appetite is, and that is very hungry at this point.
Wow. So basically we're seeing single family detached up, duplexes up, and condos not so
Condos
much.
down. So condos
Yeah.
have actually been the only type of property that we're looking at right now that have gone down. Just a couple $100s, but still no increase at all over the last year. We saw maybe in the summer where they've gone up slightly just because there was some more selling, but realistically, we're still at an even pace here. So your condo that you might have wanted to sell in 2021 and decided not to, we'd still probably suggest you hold on to that because it's not your market.
Yeah, and that's really good to know because like that could be around the corner. And man, would you ever not want to take the beating that's available right now in order like and then watch other people take the gain that's going to be available to you later. So what are your thoughts on buyers? What do you think that buyers should be considering as they approach this market?
Yeah, with buyers, we would be suggesting that if you're thinking about selling, you kind of the old saying where you got to get off your hands and take action. That's never been more true than it is now, because if you're thinking about a duplex or a smaller single family home with a front attached garage, you will pay more if you wait till next month than actioning now. And the same will be true in the next couple of months from what we're seeing with this trend.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like honestly, when we take a look at what the statistics say is that if you were thinking about taking action in November and you didn't, that was like a good portion of a car, right? That was definitely a pretty sweet holiday. What else are you going to give up for your hesitation? Like that's what we're trying to tell you as agents. As much as people might want to believe that we're only interested in doing it for ourselves, listen to what we're telling you. It really hasn't changed for us. But for you, this is going to be a continuing impact. And the other thing that you're going to want to keep your eyes on is interest rates. What do you guys think is going to happen to interest rates? Are interest rates going down from here?
No, definitely not. I think we hit our historic lows, and I think we're on a trend moving in the opposite direction. So not only are housing prices going up, but you're also going to have to factor in increased prices and costs because interest rates. So it's going to cost you even more, and it's going to be like a double whammy effect.
Yeah, so this is basically changing what's happening in the marketplace. Do you have any thoughts that you want to share on sellers?
Absolutely. So with sellers, we know a lot of sellers come to us and year over year, and they're saying, okay, is now my market? Is now a good time? Well, if you were thinking about selling in 2017, 18, 19, or even in 2020, and the numbers didn't make sense, we definitely would recommend having another chat because this is probably going to be a better market for you. Not only do you have more equity built up, but with the low inventory and everything else we've talked about today, this could be your market. So let's chat.
I think that's great advice. There's so many people that were afraid. And what we've learned through helping hundreds and hundreds of families through 5-star experiences is that we understand the seller's algorithm. That's what we call it. We know that when the numbers have to work, what that means is that what you get has to allow you to do what you want to do next. Mm-hmm. And if not, you won't sell your property. And we think that that's a good informed decision. So as much as we want to offer you an understanding of the pricing on your property, that's something that's offered through a comparative market analysis. But we also want to help you solve this. We want to help you make an informed decision. And the truth of the matter is we don't want to sell your property if you're not going to get what you want to get next. And since we met with so many families that it didn't make sense to sell their property, we just helped them make that informed decision, and we're ready to go again. So if you were thinking about selling before and you're like, man, it just doesn't make sense, or maybe you were surprised, or maybe you were upset by how the numbers worked, let's take another look because the market is now moving in your direction. And I've been making this call since the third quarter of last year, but downsizers, please come to the market. Like before I was saying, hey, it might turn in this direction. We now made the turn. So it's actually just going to start moving away from you. We wanted you to work a little bit, take advantage of when it was a little bit the other direction. And now we're starting to sweep here. So please make sure that you're considering making that change. We see it coming, and we see interest rates is going to be a factor coming into this year. What else do you think that people should know based on what you see out there?
I've got an example just from last year when I was helping someone. We helped them in Sherwood Park in Mills Haven, so nice mature neighborhood there. Buying a mid-century home, 3-level split, something that they had to pay about $350 for is definitely worth $370, $375 in today's climate, especially knowing that they've done some renovations. Good work, guys. But honestly, that's the type of market we're seeing. Is even last year was pretty strong, but now we're having some people that are saying, so what you're telling me is I could potentially sell and buy something else this year. And we know the numbers don't always work out, but that's what we're saying is this is a really great seller's environment.
I would totally agree, especially if you've got those properties that are going popular, or if you happen to be heading the other direction. If you're trying to get a higher value location, like maybe you live on the outskirts and you're trying to get a little bit closer because work is changing and they're looking at bringing you back into the office, go now. It's like, if you ever found yourself heading, realtors get this all the time, but not everybody else gets this, which is everyone else is in rush hour heading downtown and you're heading to do a market evaluation at the edge of town. And it's like your side of the road is just for you, So I think that that's going to be one of the messages coming into this year. I think that we're going to know more about where interest rates are heading in April is when those announcements are going to come. And that's like the playoff season in real estate. So I appreciate you sharing your insight with us this morning. Any last parting words before we break? Okay, well, happy selling. We've got 3 teammates here that are ready for action, and they want to help people make informed decisions on buying and selling, and they wanted to let you know the good news. We haven't been talking about this in years. We started talking about this last year, but the market is heading back in the direction that we saw it in 2014, and Edmontonians are going to start to build equity in their homes. And when everybody else is doing market evaluations, we want to help you do equity assessments. We want to talk about options, and we're here to help. Thank you so much. My name is Taylor. I am here with Anthony D'Souza, Kim Christensen, and Amy Brown that are the HACK&CO team. And thanks everyone who tuned in. We're going to continue to endeavor to bring you great information and the stats and the stories that move our real estate market each month. This information is brought to you by Gravidia. If you are thinking that the audience that watches things like this might be a great audience for your business, you should see how Gravidia partners with HACK&CO to get your company more notable among homeowners. My name is Taylor, and I hope you have a remarkable day. Cheers.